Good evening, Oakland and beyond, wherever you may be tuning in on this fine Thursday night, the first dry Thursday night we've had in a bloody while, with a whole bunch of rain smacking upside the head up here in the East Bay and the Greater Bay Area. Hope everybody's doing good out there tonight. I'm going to do as best as I can to obviously stay awake for these next 2+ hours, since this is the second of two shows that yours truly has done today here on twitch.tv/AsFAnRadio. We, of course, had show number 29 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill, hitting y'all upside the heads earlier today at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now it's time for none other than, of course, the mainstay here on this Twitch channel. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to show number 329, the Belated New Year's Extravaganza of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland athletics. Let's go ahead and get another exciting edition of AsFAnRadio underway. Hope everybody's doing great out there in Oaktown and beyond. It is the Legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown coming at you, as always, from Dub 6 Studios, the HQ and broadcasting home of AFR and TBR. TBR, by the way, being the Bear Raid, for those of you that don't know, up here in the Eastmont Hills. Just a nice little mile-plus walk, for those of you that like to walk away from the Coliseum. Yeah. Some of you might think I'm crazy, but yeah, there are times during the season for games I do walk from here to the Coliseum and back, because I ain't no scaredy cat. Great to be coming at you obviously a little bit later than we originally planned on, as this show was supposed to take place last Thursday, but of course with the passing of my mother-in-law last week, that's why the show ended up getting postponed and moved to today. We, of course, got a lot to talk to you about tonight, A's-related and other sports-related stuff here in the Bay Area. And as always, or not always, because, hey, sometimes stuff does come up, I am not alone for the first half of tonight's shows. I am, of course, joined by my counterpart and the other half of what's become known as the dynamic duo on this broadcast over the course of the last decade. Joining me, of course, from the Boss Pad in the Alameda is the main man, the Boss Man. Boss, what's up?
What's happening? First off, let me give my heartfelt condolences to Christy and yourself, Key. I just went through what you went through with an in-law passing late August. We had the funeral in September, and it's a very difficult thing as, a husband, where your wife has lost a parent, and, as a man, you want to really, naturally all of us want to be controlling. Any bad vibes or anything wrong with your woman, you want to do all you can to take that pain away, and you can't. So it's a tough thing. I just know that, my wife, when she went through what she went through, you have, spells when you're okay and spells when you're not, and it's never going to really go away. It's a parent, it's her mother. There's nothing like a mom. To be carried by somebody for 9 months, for that person to be your first teacher, the nurturer, and, your friend, everything that a mother embodies, to have that person out there is just, can be truly difficult. My mother stays, on the other side of the country, and, I don't see my mother a lot. I talk to her a lot. I was talking to her today, but it was last night. But, it's a tough one, and, just my heart pours out for you guys, and just tell you, keep, be strong for her. There's moments when Christy she's not there for a minute, and, gets emotional, and I know what it's like. Those moments are going to come at random times, you just got to buckle down. Even if she might be mad at you, she's probably thinking about it and don't want to tell you, and just choose that moment to maybe take it out on you, but you just got to just hold the fort, be strong. It ain't easy being no man in today's world. It never is easy, especially nowadays. There's a lot coming at us, so I just want to really throw that out there to you, man. But, on my end, doing pretty cool. Rolling and rocking, NBA season really getting into the thick of things. We in the NFL playoffs. A few weeks, people gonna report. down there in Arizona and Florida. But also, man, I want to give a big shout out to my guy, Benno Nagel. Yes, founder of the Town FC. Also was a founder of the Oakland Roots. Good guy, trying to do big things in Oakland, trying to have soccer expand and broaden. You know, he has dreams of bringing the NWSL to Oakland as well as the MLS Next Pro. Got to talk with him earlier today. Always enjoy talking to Benno. So Benno, Town FC, especially all you guys. Big shout out to you guys. But besides that, man, Keith, man, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hey, I'm ready to rock and roll as well, and always good to hear that Benno's doing all right. Benno also happens to be an avid follower of this very podcast and is amongst the many out there in the professional sports world that happens to support what we do here at AFR. And also to piggyback on your condolences to Christy, thank you again. We both appreciate it. The sad, unfortunate thing is, for many of you that may not have been following along these last couple years, is my mother-in-law had a stroke a little over a decade ago. So basically the family's been spending that last decade or so pretty much taking care of her. She had to basically have somebody there at the house to keep an eye on her 24/7 when she was home. And, you know, just the unfortunate thing is this is something that my wife has been preparing for a long time, but just the sad, hard reality is, and this is coming from somebody, for those of you that have, of course, been following the show for the last couple of years and have heard about the many deaths that have gone down, sadly, in my family just within the last 3 or 4 years, losing my grandfather, losing my aunt, losing a longtime friend of the family, Ricky Ricardo, who ran Ricky's, who basically was like an uncle to me. Just, you know, stuff like that, man, especially when it happens so much, it's really hard to deal with and get through. But as always, my wife and I are thankful and happy to have the network of support that we have around us, not just from family, but longtime friends like my main man, the boss man over here, who we basically consider to be family. So thank you all again for those of you that have been checking in with us to make sure that we are doing all right out there. On that note, let's go ahead and get into things here on tonight's edition of the show, as we have been for a hot-ass minute, and we will continue to do so for a hot-ass minute until either this project ends up happening or crashing and burning. It's time for the latest updates on what's been going on with the Howard Terminal Project since we last checked in here with y'all on the show. Obviously, one of the big things that we were waiting on as far as updates go coming into the new year was finding out if the city of Oakland was going to end up receiving that mega grant fund for possible infrastructure, offsite infrastructure upgrades around the Howard Terminal Ballpark site and around Jack London Square as well. As of right now, the way it stands, the City of Oakland and the Port of Oakland will not be getting that mega grant money. And apparently it turns out that basically every project in the state that filed for that mega grant money ended up being denied. And, of course, you know, the usual suspects out there, not just in the mainstream media, but certain knucklehead bloggers and all that out there, kind of basically, yet again, jumped at this as this being the death blow to this project. But when in reality, that obviously is not the case. Just to name off some stuff out here, as I'm looking at our good friend Vitamin D's page, some of the stuff that D threw out there to make sure that everybody was aware of when this news came down. The City of Oakland has secured over $375 million in grants so far. The design phase for the project moves forward without delay. The mega grant was not a sole intended source for funding the project. More than $100 million in grants are still in the works, and the city is well positioned to secure more funding. You even had Port Commissioner Michael Colbrono hint at that the other day when he, of course, also went off on one Scott Ulster over this whack-ass write-up that he ended up doing. D also wants to put out there as well for those that want to start the whole A's to Vegas crap again. Based on what he's hearing from his sources down there in the desert, unless John Fisher ponies up more money and agrees to binding terms out there, regardless of what's being said about what they're doing down there, basically politicians and business people in Vegas are not going to want to have jack diddly squat to do what John Fisher on a ballpark project down there until either he ponies up more money and has binding votes out there. So obviously kind of a little bit of a bump in the road, but there's still the possibility of multiple grants out there to get in regards to this. And obviously I'm not shocked that cats like Ulster and certain bloggers out there, felt that this was the death blow to this. Obviously, that's not the case, but time is ticking and of the essence, folks, because of those of you that did not know, the E&A between the A's and the Port runs out in May, so, they got to start getting some stuff done here to either get forward with getting this project done or at least make some effort to, have things get extended with that E&A, because the hard deadline for this, for those of you that forgot, is January of 2024 from MLB to either have something done with this or have something planned as far as maybe bouncing out of the city if they can't get that done. Bauce, your thoughts on the latest developments on what's going down with Howard Terminal and any additional tidbits that you might have that I did not mention during my little rant about the project as of late.
I was talking with a good friend of the show, and shout out to Robert Ponte out there in the A3 run down there in Monterey County, off the peninsula. Hope everybody's safe around there. The floods and the crazy inclement weather that came, man, really did some damage down there, a little south of the South Bay, if you will. But yeah, he'd been texting me back and forth, and we were getting a little concerned that nothing had been announced, and it seemed like there was a precursor to it to when Tim Kalakwami of the Mercury News put out his article and was basically detailed we already knew. I think there was just a sense that it was not going to happen. I think there were some things you look at, the reasoning, there's some things that just are not complete. They didn't meet the requirements. They didn't meet the standards. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think one of the things that were very key in not meeting it was just the fact of the A's commitment. I've told you guys this over and over again, no matter what. This is on John Fisher. No matter what happens in what city, John Fisher is going to have to fork over some money. He's a cheapskate. He doesn't want to give his own funds up, which is well as his prerogative, because his daddy made all that money all these years and had him, land on third base starting life. But there has to be something to be said that you have to be able to make it happen yourself and stop relying on daddy's money and other people to help you get it done. That's what called being a man is. And I'm just going to tell you guys, in my personal opinion, John Fisher is not a man. Yeah, he's a male from the male species like me and you, Keith, but he's not a man. He doesn't man up. He doesn't go make it happen. He doesn't make a way out of no way. That's what men do. Even the messed up things in our life that we don't like. You might complain a little bit, but you ain't gonna sit there and complain all day. You have to go make it happen, irregardless of the circumstances. And the circumstances are much more advantageous for him. It doesn't matter whether it's here or Las Vegas. Fisher, you have to call for $500 million at least. Whether you pay for your own, you go to the banks, but you have to pay them back. You go ahead and pay back that money. You're not getting a free ride. You're not. And if it is true, probably Rob Manfred said it, but if they waive the franchise relocation fee for moving, like it's been stated, well, it's obvious why they're doing that, because he's gonna have to fork over some money. He's not gonna be able to get the franchise fee, waived, and relocation fee, waived, and not pay a dime and just get taxpayer money. That's not happening out there. And the fact is this: we love baseball, but baseball brand isn't crazily big for Las Vegas as far as American League teams go, unless it's the Yankees, especially the A's. It's just not. And you think that you're going to be able to do something that's tangible and conducive to making somebody a lot of money? I mean, you know, we've seen I guess the speculation is that the Tropicana site, south of the strip, is, I guess, the preferred destination because Phil Ruffin wasn't buying Fisher's bullshit. But that has problems in itself. Big time logistical problems. We see where that's built at. You really think that's going to work? Good luck on that. Good luck on that. If Fisher has to spend $5 million, it's going to be a dome stadium because it has to be. Because that heat is massive in June, July, and August. And even, a good part of September. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves, man. There's going to have to be a dome, and a dome is going to cost at least $500 million more than you think. Okay, we start to get over the $1.5 billion and $2 billion territory. Do you have the funds, or are you willing to give up the funds it takes to make it happen? I don't. Cal Kwame talked about, there's talks of him selling. I've been saying that to everybody. Don't say because a person says, oh, there's no price. Every businessman has a price. The $1 Million Man. How you doing? Ah! You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got a price. You know what I'm saying? You will be bought. That's just what it is. Do I like it? No. It sure clipped me when it came to the Raiders and the Warriors. But that's the game we're in. You're going to have to put the funds up, or someone's going to have to put up the funds for you. And he ain't getting either way right now. So what happens? There are as Vitamin D accurately put it, the city of Oakland has secured funds. They secured grants. $375 million for infrastructure. Fuck any of you guys say the city of Oakland or whatever is not doing their job. They're not doing what's necessary. $375, they're getting a lot done. And still trying to get something done. I mean, I'll say this. With the new mayor, Shane Cowell, and the fold now for the city, I imagine that the EIFD is going to be more of a reality that maybe Libby Shaft or whoever else we're not really pushing. But I think that's going to be a big, heavy dose of the monies that's going to be used to get this thing over the line. Yes, May is coming up. Now, I don't know. Maybe you know about the extension for it. You can tell me, Keith, if there is. If they're doing an extension. But something has to get done. Now, Chris Townie, Uncle Townie was saying that, maybe March you might hear something. He wasn't saying that definite, but you have to think he maybe heard something. But there's no guarantees in this. We are going to have to wait and see. It's unfortunate, but that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. But Bauce was at the inauguration event for Oakland last week on the 9th. And, in her speech, Shane Cowell mentioned the A's. You got to think it's big for a new mayor to mention. There's obviously some importance because she doesn't want to lose that team. It'll bother her big time. She's almost been lost to Oakland over the last few years. So I don't have any predictions. I'm going to be sitting and waiting like you guys. If I get information, I will post it on Twitter. Or some of you guys who are cool enough to get the Bauce exclusive, I'll call you guys. That's where I stand.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything out there yet myself yet as far as any talks of an extension on that E&A. Maybe that's something that after the show tonight or even after you get done during the first hour, maybe one of us should tweet Michael Colbruno about that and see what's going on with that. Other thing I wanted to touch bases on with you, too, and I know it's a big pointer out there, and you brought it up, the whole MLB waiving the relocation fee and all that. I mean, I understand and see Manfred saying that, but there's just this part of me that just feels that the other 29 owners at some point are going to be like, we want our cut of the money, motherfucker. You know, why are you going to go and waive that stuff when we want to get a cut of the pie on that? So obviously a whole lot of stuff to still go down and happen in regards to this. And as always, we will keep you updated as best as we can here on the show, or when the show isn't going on. As Bauce pointed out, we will make sure to put updates up on our Twitter page and our social media page. And speaking of which, since you've been to a whole bunch of events that Mayor Tao has been putting on, any chance of her coming on the show anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely try to see about that. She's very busy. I mean, she's currently in Washington, D.C., from what I last known. Yeah, I was able to chat with her just real quickly, if you will. It's about her being in D.C. She's trying to do her thing. She's over here swinging the axe for Oakland. You know, I think she has a rock star type of personality. I think her cadences, her style, her look, I think it's very conducive to her being one of the more popular mayors in Oakland history. I truly, I'm not just saying that because she's cool with me, but I truly believe that. She's got a Good Morning America, guys. Good Morning America. I had a New York Times article written about her. Evidently, she's getting some traction. So, if I'm able to swing it, people, I will. I got, our show has gotten Chris Townsend on it. You know, actors that were from the Moneyball movie, Dave Newhouse, King Korak, Chris Townsend, if I didn't name him. We got Dave Cavill. So, I will do all I can at some point to see if I can get Shane Tao on this show.
We will definitely.
I'd also love to get Janani Ramachandran, the new council person of District 4. I got a good number of opportunities to meet with her and talk about a few different things. And I got to meet her father and stuff. So, we're going to be trying to do a lot of stuff. But right now, these people are really new. I mean, you think of Kevin Jenkins. He's new with District 6. District 4, I just mentioned John and Shane, the mayor, new. And they're trying to get adjusted to this. So, if I get something later in the spring, maybe early summer, I mean, I'll do anything I can for you guys. And ask the questions that you people want to ask. Not so much what I want to ask one day. I want to ask what you people want to ask. Because you guys, I think we have smartest viewers around. A's fans are always knowledgeable people, not just about baseball, but about life in general. I want to get your questions out to them because they're very important.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. And that also reminds me, too, that we also need to line things up for Kevin Jenkins to come back on the show here at some point in time. That concludes this show's update on the Howard Terminal Project. And, of course, as always, we will do our best to keep y'all up to date on that matter, either here on the show or over on our social media pages whenever we are not on the air. First fan question reminder of the night here on show number 329 of A's Fan Radio before we take our first break of the evening. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, be sure to make your way over to either Facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter to submit your responses to the fan question of the night. Just look for the posted tweet that says fan question of the night, follow the directions, submit your responses, and of course yours truly will read your responses on air during the final segment of tonight's show. The fan question of the night, of course, for tonight's edition of AFR is we want to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing. Let's see here. I want to make sure I don't mispronounce this gentleman's name. We want to hear your thoughts on the A's signing Shintaro Fujinama to a 1-year contract, or as he likes to prefer to be called, Mr. Fuji. Again, to get those responses into that fan question, head over to either facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio to get those responses in. We come back from our first break of the night. We will take a look at that signing of Mr. Fuji to the Oakland Athletics and also find out what the A's have planned for this year in lieu of a fan fest. That and a whole lot more to come your way before the evening is out here on show number 329, the belated New Year's extravaganza of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, A's Fan Radio. Now, if any of you out there that are listening in tonight happen to also listen to the first show of today's doubleheader, you're probably sitting there thinking, wait a minute, didn't you use that instrumental version of Stand Back by Stevie Nicks as the outro for the final break of the Bear Raid? Yes, I did, and just for my own shit, giggles, and amusement, I used it as the first song of the first break on tonight's show. Hey, it's my podcast, so I can do whatever I want with the soundtrack, so you either got to love it, live with it, or deal with it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to show number 329, the belated New Year's extravaganza of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, A's Fan Radio. We're, of course, coming at you during the first half of tonight's show. It is the long-standing dynamic duo of yours truly, the legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown, coming at you, of course, from Dub 6 Studios in Oakland, and, of course, my counterpart, the main man, the boss man, checking in over the cellular telly from the Boss Pad in Alameda. Let's go ahead and continue on down the road here with talk baseball related and whatnot here in the first half of tonight's show. As, of course, we will touch bases real quick on a major signing, I guess you can say, that has gone down for the Oakland Athletics since the last time we came at you here on the show. It takes a lot, by the way, for the Athletics to put together a press conference for a free agent signing, given the fact that the last one had taken place more than a decade ago. That's what made the press conference that went down 2 days ago a little more significant. Rather than just organizing a simple Zoom call, the A's invited members of the media to their team headquarters on the waterfront shores of downtown Oakland at Jacqueline Square, not too far, by the way, from where the potential future ballpark at Howard Terminal will be potentially built, to introduce Japanese right-hander Shintaro Fujinami, who they signed to a 1-year contract last week. It marks the first news conference held by the A's to introduce a free agent since 2012. That's, of course, when we signed Japanese infielder Hiru Nakajima to, I believe it was a 2 or 3 year contract. He ended up going down to the minors out of spring training, and then we never really heard much of anything from him after that. So hopefully this ends up being a lot better than how that ended up playing out. A's general manager David Forrest was quoted at the press conference as saying, "It's been a while since we had a press conference and a day this exciting here. It's exciting to welcome Shintaro Fujinami to the Oakland A's. It's been a fun week. Upon finalizing the deal with their new pitcher, members of the A's front office spent the past week showing Fuji, as he prefers to be called, around the Bay Area. Activities included dinner at the famed Claremont Hotel in Berkeley and side sessions at the UC Berkeley campus with Cal Baseball coach Mike Nuo, who, of course, for many of you that might have forgotten, is a former A's reliever. On Tuesday, of course, Forrest presented a home white athletics jersey and a green and gold A's hat to Fuji, who was joined by agent Scott Boris and interpreter Issey Yamada. Determined to improve his English, Fuji began the conference with a full statement in the language. "Hi, nice to meet everyone," he said. "I'm Shintaro Fujinami. Please call me Fuji, like Mount Fuji. First of all, I would like to say thank you to my parents. Without their support, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Second of all, I want to thank the Hanshin Tigers for my 10 years of my professional career in Japan. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to pitch against the best hitters in the world. Lastly, I would like to thank the Oakland A's organization, GM David Forrest, and my agent Scott Boris for believing in me. To my fans, I promise that I will do my best to show you my appreciation throughout my performance. I'm very excited to play for the Oakland A's and pitch in the best league in the world. Go Oakland A's." And apparently, Fuji likes the Coliseum, so it's always good to hear when a player actually likes the friendly confines of that nearly 60-plus-year-old old lady out here in the Deep East. I haven't really gotten a chance to look at much film or study up on this guy that much, but the one little piece of footage I did see put out there, and it was tweeted out by sports broadcaster and media guy Eno Saris, who covers a lot of baseball-related stuff, and he's a regular guest on A's Talk Live with our good friend Chris Townsend. He posted a little short video that shows that Fuji has one very, very, very nasty split-finger fastball that drops off the table really quickly. It actually kind of reminds me a lot of that nasty splitter that Tim Hudson used to have back in the day. And apparently also Fuji has garnered a lot in comparison to one Shohei Ohtani, who pitches down the road in Anaheim with the Angels. Boss man, your thoughts on us signing Mr. Fuji to a one-year contract, and any takes you have on how this individual will help the Oakland Athletics in 2023. Boss, are you still there? Boss, man.
I'm just running my mouth and it was on mute and stuff. I'm just running my mouth like this. Wait for you. I'm running my mouth. Goddamn shit. But you know what? Hopefully we're gonna be calling him Master Fuji. Okay, it's like with Mr. Fuji's name started being at the end of his WWF career. Master Fuji. Okay, better respect Master Fuji. Hopefully Fuji can bring some powers of pain and some demolition to opposing lineups. I'm happy that they at least got somebody of international fame. You know, we have not had a signing of note that really kind of blows you away. I know a little bit about the guy, you know, and you are right. That split finger is absolutely nasty. It runs off the table. And you're going to see a lot of ground ball outs. Now, the key, I think, for him is to see how he's able to paint the black of the plate as he's pitched in the American League. It's a junk ball league, but I think having a good splitter, you know, in your repertoire can do a lot with your fastball, you know, because it looks a lot like the fastball until it drops on you. So I think that he can be a good double play guy. I'm just happy that he's, you know, along for the ride. I mean, the A's, you know, with all expectations, they're going to be considered a last place team again. But, you know, hopefully we see, you know, by August that they're forming a team that is building themselves to be back in playoff contention. And I think getting a guy like this at 28, who is still young but has enough vet qualities as a 10-year pro to understand what it is to pitch on a big league level. I mean, say what you want, that Japan is a hell of a league, it's hell of players, but you know what it's like to be on the big stage. It's not like we're getting a rookie here. So he understands about being paid, about having the limelight on you, about having media. I think with, you know, the Japanese population that is here in California, especially, you know, the Bay Area, I think we can really see this guy bring some more fans over to the Coliseum, and I'm really excited about it, though. So, you know, Fuji, welcome to Oakland. I'm glad you like the Coliseum. Let's hope, man, that we can, you know, be some good fans for you and support you so you can bring some wins back to Oakland.
Definitely one of the things that I'm liking that I've seen from the fans out there since this news was announced is you've had a couple individuals out there, including our good friends over at the Last Dive Bar, that photoshopped Mount Fuji on top of Mount Davis, and that was kind of cool. Would actually be dope if they could kind of do that, but I'm also of the opinion if there was a way to actually kind of put Mount Fuji up there on top of Mount Davis, you're going to need to do one thing for me in order to, you know, have it be okay in my book to do that, and that's have Godzilla, of course, pop out after every home run. But definitely like the fact that the fans are getting into it. It's going to be real interesting to see how Fuji contributes and does stuff for the team this year, with a lot of the expectations being that the A's are going to be cellar dwellers again. He was mainly used as a reliever last year with the Tigers. He is expected, though, to be part of the starting rotation this year, so it definitely will be interesting with him, and also given the fact that there's talk of A.J. Puck being in the mix for the starting rotation again. If this maybe is finally the year where the A's experiment possibly with a 6-man rotation, or if they just go with the traditional 5-man rotation based off of what happens with that. So welcome to Oakland, Mr. Fuji. Hopefully we get the chance to call you Master Fuji, as Boss Man said. And for those of you, of course, not paying attention, our fan question of the night for tonight's show happens to deal with this individual, so definitely head on over to either facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio to get in your responses and share your thoughts on the A's signing Fuji to a 1-year deal. One little last tidbit of A's news I wanted to touch bases on before we take our next break of the night, and it's something, of course, that many out there across social media, from NorCal Nodders to members of the Last Dive Bar to even Hal the Hot Dog Guy, kept tweeting out there wanting to know, hey, are you bums going to do a fan fest this year or not? We, of course, haven't seen a fan fest in Oakland for the A's since back in January, late January, early February of 2020. And, of course, we all know what ended up happening several months after that all went down. Spoiler alert. There won't be a Fan Fest this year, but apparently in lieu of Fan Fest in 2023, the A's will have something else going down instead. And, of course, to celebrate A's fans and thank them for their loyal support, the organization will host its first A's Spirit Week beginning on Monday, January the 23rd. The week-long celebration in lieu of A's Fan Fest will include daily ticket deals, special giveaways on the A's social media channels, community visits and donations, and more. The Week of Fun will conclude with a happy hour event open to all fans on Friday, January the 27th, and we're hearing that that event will be taking place over there at Plank down at Jack London Square. A's Spirit Week ticket deals will kick off on Tuesday, January the 24th with a buy one, get one free offer for opening day tickets. The A's, of course, open the 2023 season on Thursday, March 30th versus the Anaheim Angels. Additional A's Spirit Week deals, including discount ticket prices for select A's promotional days, including drone and firework nights, tickets that include a chance to watch batting practice from the field, and fee-free tickets. Of course, then also on Saturday, January 28th, tickets for all 2023 regular season games will go on sale to the public throughout the week, of course, with Spirit Week going down obviously next week if you've been paying attention to the dates. The A's will continue to support the local community through events and donations to nonprofit partners. The A's will surprise local middle school, high school, and college baseball and softball teams with lunch, A's swag, equipment, and a donation to their athletic program. The A's will also make a donation and host breakfast at a local elementary school. Fans are encouraged to follow the A's social media channels at Athletics across all social media platforms throughout A's Spirit Week for daily giveaways, including tickets, autograph items, and unique experience. Again, as mentioned, A's Spirit Week will conclude on Friday, January 27th with a happy hour event at Plank featuring bingo, raffle, and more. That event will be free and open to the public. I may or may not be at that event next Friday because there has been some discussion of members of the Oakland, of the Howard Terminal Waterfront Coalition showing up, so I might show up to help things out with them. But I think it's kind of a little whack and lame, not going to lie, that they're doing this instead of FanFest, but also, given the circumstances or what's going on with the future of this team and certain members of the front office probably not wanting to get put on blast in public at FanFest, I guess it's sadly kind of understandable why that's the case. Boss Man, your thoughts on A's Spirit Week 2023?
Spirit Week? What the fuck is this? I'm sorry, everybody. Are we in fucking high school? It's Spirit Week. Give away your spirit. Oh, I'm Libby Shaft. I'm leading the charge. Oh, fuck out of here. Fan Fest is what we want. We want to be at Jack London. We want to be at Plank. We want to be at Old Langamore, Scott's, and, walking past Ben and Jerry's Ice Cream, parking right across the parking structure, across from the movie theater above Yoshi's, walking over there by where the little pizza shit, though. And sit though. We want to experience the little Jack London little spot though, the place where Jack London used to be at. We should be experiencing all of that, and right there next to where the ferry is at, having the stage. If you guys are willing to want to pack 30,000-40,000 people for a Giants game, you can't do it for FanFest. Why? And just no, I find it absolutely unacceptable. You want people to be excited for this franchise after you have flirted with Vegas, after you have said and deemed the Coliseum basically uninhabitable. Shit, you make it seem like it's fucking Siberia. You know, I don't want to be building a Coliseum, but you totally make it seem like it's fucking Siberia of the MLB. And
10 years hard labor in the Deep East. Sorry, I had to be smart ass and say it.
Yeah, I hear you. AsFAnRAdio exclusive. But shit, I mean, I don't understand why you cannot do this with your fans. And then you want a Spirit Week where there's all kind of ticket deals. Man, fuck your ticket deals, man. Get something fucking done. But at least have a damn fan fest. You really can't have that. What's the reason? Is it too expensive? John Fisher's family is worth $10.2 billion. The fuck you can do that. It was so a good gesture after the consistent fuck-ups you've been doing the last 2 years. Man, I'm disgusted by this, man. I'm absolutely disgusted to know that, you know, all my good friends can't be down there trying just to celebrate, which they don't know. I mean, for all its purposes. But we've already seen our last fan fest. I mean, people have every right to feel like that because you feel like you're not putting in the effort for us. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff, man. I don't know. Really don't know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, and I feel as well that we should be getting a fan fest instead of this, but I don't know, man. Maybe, you know, they want to be tight with the money. They're just scared of, you know, having to possibly deal with cats like you, me, and members of the 68s jumping down their throat because of all the bullshit for the last couple of years. But, yeah, kind of whack, but sadly, it is what it is. And again, as I mentioned, I may possibly be joining my counterparts from the Howard Terminal Waterfront Coalition at that event at the Plank, but keep you posted, obviously, if I do end up doing that or not, because obviously following the whole ongoing situation fallout from my mother-in-law passing away, we still got a whole bunch of stuff in regards to that we're dealing with, so that might prevent me from being there. But if not, those of you that do go, definitely be sure to check in with our counterparts, the Howard Terminal Waterfront Coalition, to find out what you can do to help make your voices heard and help make Howard Terminal be a reality. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to obviously see how everybody else out there feels about that. And pretty much a lot of the folks we know out there actually agree with our take on this. Quick reminder before we take our next break of the night here on show number 329 that there is a fan question of the night sitting out there if you yoo-hoos have not gotten around to answering it yet. If you haven't yet, Facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio is where you can find that fan question of the night. Just look for the post or tweet that says fan question of the night, follow the directions on there, submit your responses, and of course yours truly will read those responses during the final segment of tonight's show. Fan question of the night for show number 329 is we want to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing Fuji to a 1-year contract. We come back here for the final segment of the first half of tonight's show. We're going to share a little bit of our thoughts on some of the moves that have gone down in Major League Baseball since the last time we came at you. Boss Man will share his final thoughts of the night, and we will also take a look at the other transactions that your Oakland Athletics have made since the last time we came at you here on the show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back at you here in a bit on show number 329, the belated New Year's Extravaganza of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, A's Fan Radio. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to close out things here in the first half of tonight's broadcast. The second show of a doubleheader that, of course, went down here on twitch.tv/AsFAnRadio today. You, of course, earlier this afternoon had show number 29 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill go down. And, of course, right here, right now, is the flagship podcast of this very Twitch channel. Show number 329, the Belated New Year's Extravaganza of AsFAnRadio, which, of course, here in the first half of tonight's show, it's the infamous dynamic duo of yours truly, the legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown, and the main man, the boss man, smacking you upside the head for A's talk and a whole lot more. Let's go ahead and get ready to wrap things up here in the first half of tonight's show with a little bit of our take on some stuff that has gone around Major League Baseball. And, of course, Bauce will get his final thoughts in here before he has to check out, and y'all are stuck with my lunatic fringe ass for the remainder of the broadcast solo. Obviously, whole lot of movement going down. It's nothing new when it comes to things in the Major League Baseball world during the course of free agency. Having guys bounce all over the place, kind of shocked to see someone like Gene Segura, for example, go and sign a deal with, of all teams, the Miami Marlins. But, Gene's one of those cats where he probably just was looking to get a deal somewhere, put up some numbers, and maybe if the Marlins end up playing like crap, which they normally always do, sadly, maybe he ends up getting dealt at this point. But one thing I wanted to touch bases on as far as free agent moves goes, and I'm pretty sure Bauce wants to get in his 2 cents and talk a little smack about this as well, is just, man, the biggest thing that I feel that all of us are going to be talking about when we look back on the 2022-2023 Major League Baseball offseason was the shenanigans and the ridiculousness that was Carlos Correa first signing with the Giants and then having that fall through. Then he goes and signs a deal with the Mets, and then that shit falls through because of the same reason. And then ultimately he ends up signing a 6-year deal with about half of the amount of the money that he could have gotten with either the Giants or the Twins. It ends up going back to Minnesota. Just, completely crazy and ridiculous how that whole situation ended up playing out. Bauce, your thoughts on that whole fiasco involving Carlos Correa, and were there any other moves out there that have stuck out to you as far as movement that's gone on in Major League Baseball since the last time we hit up everybody here upside the head on AFR?
I don't know what the hell that was. The Giants fumbled him, and the Mets, reportedly had jumped in. So you're thinking, all right, the Mets are trying to make moves. The Phillies and Braves, obvious, power players over there. Okay, look at this. But then it's all going back to Minnesota. He's not getting his bigger bag. I guess. These Nationals are cool. They can win without him. You could have him say that. So, that's just a whole interesting thing. I don't know who his agent is. I don't know what, but for a guy that has never hit 30 home runs, a guy 100 ribbies, that's sure a lot of attention for him. He's a good player, don't get me wrong.
I want to say, I was going to say, I think that he actually has the same agent as Mr. Fuji. I believe that Correa's agent is punk-ass Scott Boras, just to fill everyone in if you didn't know.
So it makes a lot of sense, don't it?
Yep.
It just makes a lot of sense on, why he's being the way he is. It's just, make up your mind. Teams need to make up their mind. But go back to Minnesota, whatever. That's not really sticking in my mind as far as baseball goes, because I think really outside of Judge and even with some of the Padres, there's a few guys that got money. It was not really that crazy of free agent period. Yeah, a few guys that paid. What's his name? Was it Devers or whatever? He got chipped off, but it wasn't really nothing really overly crazy. I think Aaron Judge was really the big fish everybody was looking at, and a big fish, stayed home in New York, which, personally makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So we'll definitely see, man, how things shape up. Man. So, another interesting time in baseball. I think with baseball, what we're going to see is, more of a headway is being done during the season when there's going to be some trades, just because, to me, there's no real clear-cut favorite. Obviously, going in, we know the Phillies World Series team lost 6 to the Astros. They added, I believe, Trey Turner and stuff, though. So we'll see. I'm not overly excited because baseball is just one of those games where your team really needs to be meshing right, and we have to really see really how the season plays. I think football, you kind of have an idea a lot of times who are going to be some of the better teams. Basketball to an extent, but baseball is really very unpredictable. It just is, man.
Yeah, I definitely got to agree with you there on that not so much as many major movements going down this year really the only things that stuck out pretty much are, the whole Judge situation, which both of us predicted, by the way, that Aaron was not going to leave New York at all. It was really funny seeing you pencil him to being with the Giants, and then that fell through. That whole Correa situation, which is completely laughable and may end up being the biggest thing that's talked about besides Judge staying in New York outside of this whole free agent period. And, there's still some time for individuals that are maybe sitting out there to still sign with some teams because we still got a couple weeks to go before pitchers and catchers report down to Arizona and Florida for the Cactus League and Grapefruit League. So it's going to be real interesting to see if anything else happens between now and then, or if pretty much the bulk of things have already taken place. On that note, I'm going to real quickly go use the restroom real quick and replenish my coffee for the infamous X-rated second half. While that is, of course, going down, Boss Man is going to go ahead and take you all on out of here with his final thoughts of the night before he gets back to spending the remainder of the evening with the Boss family. Boss Man, take it away.
Yeah, everybody's been a minute since I've been on here, man. I'm trying to do what I got to do, but every now and then I love to do the cold mixes. You know what? Some people were taken aback by my post discussing or even making light of the fact that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be playing the Santa Clara 49ers on Sunday. So what? You guys don't like it. I don't care. Yeah, I call them the Santa Clara 49ers. Well, we call them the San Jose 49ers. That's what San Francisco about them. We had some idiot, some troglodyte, moron, what about Blake or whatever the hell his name is, make some sort of declaration that, he didn't like what I was saying and had the nerve to say, well, it's the San Francisco Bay Area that they're playing in, the San Francisco Bay Area. This is all the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay, so let me get this straight. Are the earthquakes called the San Francisco Bay Area earthquakes? Are the San Jose Sharks, are they called the San Francisco Bay Area Sharks? Well, the Oakland Raiders called the San Francisco Bay Area Raiders. Are the A's? Are they San Francisco Bay Area A's? I mean, come on, dude. Let's be serious about where we're at right now, man. Come on. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense what you guys are saying. And to be honest, to see people, a little upset about what I said, it felt good. I thought I was losing my ability to get under people's skin, especially when the person wants to threaten me and say he'll bruise me up from the free ball right now. 11 o'clock at night, drive to Fremont. No, I don't you think about this. I'm gonna drive to Fremont. Feels like knowing damn well that you ain't gonna fight. You probably have a gun. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not gonna fight me, especially if you see the stick figure that was trying to threaten me. Like, come on, man. Your dad is probably like some lawyer, man. Like, come on, dude. Get out of here. And then for you to say the brother tag and stuff, though, like, dude, again, you're like a suburban white kid from like Santa Clara. Like, really be serious with yourself. The little racist trope, dude, come on. Dude, you got to do way better than that, because you're not going to have, you can say it to any person that comes from my background, say that and be condescending it without getting hurt, dude. Like, let's just stop. Let's be real with where we're at in life. You know what? You don't like me calling the San Jose or San Jose 49ers. So what? Just move on. Say a piece and move on, dude. Like, it's nothing. Like, and my trash talk evidently got under your skin for you to mention go back and forth. It bothered you. That makes me feel good that it bothered you. It makes me know that my whole objective, my aim, it really worked out, man. It really worked out. So, you know, I really overall don't care about who really wins. Obviously, I don't want the Niners to win, but they do. I mean, I ain't gonna lose no sleep over it. Like I said, my team's a sports book. That's my team in the NFL. Sports book, it always wins. Whether I get the money or not, it always wins. Anyhow, everybody, you take care. Be good. Save up your money because we do not know what's about to happen in Congress. If we're going to be into a deep recession and they're going to just default on the money or not. So be cool, everybody. Holla.
Boss Man, thank you as always for joining us. You take care and enjoy the rest of the evening with the Bauce family. That means, guess what, y'all? Y'all are stuck with my Lunatic Fringe 5150 ass solo for the remainder of this broadcast. Let's go ahead and wrap things up here with the last bit of transaction news for you Oakland Athletics since the last time we came at you here on the show before we get on into seventh inning stretch time and, of course, the infamous X-rated second half of the show. Here is the most recent transactions that have gone down for the A's since the last time we came at you. The last batch of stuff they made was on December the 23rd. We already covered that stuff on the last show, and we, of course, pick back up with things on the transaction end with their first transaction of the year going down on January the 10th when the Oakland Athletics, of course, signed free agent right-handed pitcher Austin Pruitt to a minor league contract. They also signed free agent right-handed pitcher Joe Whelan to a minor league contract that day. Well, the next day was when Whelan was signed. He was signed to a minor league contract on January the 11th. 2 days after that, of course, the A's designated right-handed pitcher Tyler Sear for assignment. That was, of course, to make a room on the roster for the signing of free agent right-handed pitcher Shintaro Fujinami, a.k.a. Mr. Fuji. Other moves, of course, the A's made after that. On the 15th, they signed a whole bunch of individuals to minor league contracts. As on January the 15th, they signed right-handed pitcher Alvin Virez, outfielder Darlene Fernandez, outfielder Ronaldo De La Paz, catcher Jesus Natara, right-handed pitcher Roberto Undonati, right-handed pitcher Donnie Trocanis, catcher Ramon Ladaida, shortstop Jesus Cipriano, shortstop Jesus Fernandez, right-handed pitcher Luis Morales, right-handed pitcher Freeland Guzman, right-handed pitcher Francis Marte, right-handed pitcher Paul Chacon, right-handed pitcher Wilfred Oliverdo, right, shortstop Ronaldo De La Cruz, outfielder Jesus Lopez. All those names that I just mentioned were all signed to minor league contracts on January the 15th. And, of course, the most recent roster transaction that went down for your Oakland Athletics was 2 days ago on January the 17th when the Oakland Athletics released right-handed pitcher Tyler Sear. And that is the most recent roster transactions for your Oakland Athletics, and that, of course, means that we are done with the first half of tonight's show. But we, of course, still got the good old infamous X-rated second half to come your way. Before we get into seventh inning stretch time, though, of course, I do want to remind y'all that there is a fan question of the night sitting out there for you knuckleheads that haven't had a chance to respond to it yet. If you haven't done that yet, be sure to make your way over to either Facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter. Look for the post or tweets that say fan question of the night. Follow the directions on there. Submit your responses. And, of course, yours truly will read off all responses to that fan question during the final segment of tonight's show. The fan question of the night, of course, for show number 329 is we want to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing Fuji to a one-year contract. Again, to get those responses in, look for the fan question of the night post or tweet on either Facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter. On that note, smoke them if you got them. Fire up that medical research. Go get a cold one out of the fridge. It is seventh inning stretch time here on show number 329 of A's Fan Radio. AsFANRAdio. When we come back at you, of course, for the infamous X-rated second half, we're going to check in on what the schedule for 2023 Cal football looks like. Also take a look at the preseason and regular season schedule for the Oakland Roots. Check in on what the San Jose Sharks have been up to since the last time we came at you. Read off, of course, your responses to the fan question of the night, and then get you all with my final thought of the night before we get on out of here. That's what's in store for y'all in the infamous X-rated second half of the show, following the seventh inning stretch midway break here on show number 329, the belated New Year's extravaganza of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland athletics. We'll be right back at you here in a bit on A's Fan Radio. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what we historically on this long-standing A's fan-produced podcast refer to as our infamous X-rated second half of the show. For those of you that don't know or are just new to A's Fan Radio, we call it the X-rated second half because back in the day, this is where we try to keep all the various profanities and obscenities we would use, save all that stuff for the back half of the show. But obviously, in the years since the dynamic duo have been doing things, as far as language goes, we sometimes turn the whole damn broadcast into an X-rated broadcast because of our use of profanity and obscenities. But yeah, historically, this is the infamous X-rated half of the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to show number 329, the belated New Year's extravaganza edition of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland athletics. A's talk from the fans' point of view since 2003, and the second of two broadcasts that were done today here on twitch.tv/AsFANRadio. Of course, earlier in the day, we had show number 29 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill go down. And, of course, right here, right now, it's the second half of show number 329 of A's Fan Radio. It is, of course, the legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown who will now be coming at you solo for the remainder of this broadcast. I, of course, was joined during the first half of tonight's broadcast by the other half of what's become known as the dynamic duo over the last decade on the show. The main man, the boss man, of course, checking in from the boss pad over in Alameda. Obviously, if this were the regular season and it were far enough in, this is the point in time where we would be doing minor league talk and seeing what the minor league farm teams are up to. But obviously, that's not the case. Still the offseason, and it's still going to be a hot minute before any sort of minor league talk pops up here on the show. So obviously, during the next couple months until minor league baseball starts up, we're going to be shuffling around stuff here to fill in the segments of the second half of tonight's show. That, of course, means we'll be beginning with something here that normally, when we have things lined up the regular way, doesn't take place until the next segment of the second half of the show. But again, with no minor league talk going on, that will be taking place right here, right now, as, of course, I get ready to cue up the California Marching Band. And when, of course, you hear the sound of the University of California Marching Band, that means it is time once again for another exciting rendition of the Bear Raid segment here on A's Fan Radio. And, of course, just like its full-on podcast counterpart, the segment edition of the Bear Raid is, of course, brought to you by the world-famous Tightwad Hill. Obviously, still got a while to go before things end up going down in regards to this, but obviously with this news dropping yesterday, I wanted to make sure to mention this here on the show, and this will be the only piece of Cal talk that we'll be discussing here on this Bear Raid segment. Normally I would have also broken down things with the basketball programs on here, but given the fact that I did a full-on Bear Raid podcast earlier in the day, I figured I would at the least just touch bases on the football stuff here on this edition of AFR. So if you want to get full in-depth recap and previews of stuff related to Cal Athletics, and if you missed out on that earlier in the day, be sure to head over to either our Twitch channel or our YouTube channel come tomorrow morning to check out, of course, the recording of show number 29 of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. As I mentioned, just going to do Cal football talk here on this segment edition of the Bear Raid, and that's mainly due, of course, to the news that came out yesterday. As, of course, the Pac-12 announced and revealed all of the upcoming schedules in 2023 for all of its Pac-12 conference teams. But obviously the only schedule that we here give a damn about is the schedule, of course, that pertains to the University of California, our beloved sturdy Golden Bear. Here is what Cal football has on tap in 2023. California's 2023 football schedule will feature 6 home games, highlighted by the Golden Bears' first ever meeting with perennial national power Auburn on September the 9th, which, of course, will be the home opener at California Memorial Stadium and Tightwad Hill. And you also, of course, have an October 28th visit from USC, in which, of course, is the Trojans' final season in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 announced the entire schedule of each of its teams yesterday, and the remainder of Cal's home lineup includes games against conference foes Arizona State on September 30th, Oregon State on October the 7th, and Washington State on November 11th. The Bears will also host Idaho in a non-league contest on September the 16th. Cal opens its 2023 season on the road over Labor Day weekend at North Texas on September the 2nd and will take Pac-12 trips to Washington on September the 23rd, Utah on October the 14th, Oregon on November the 4th, an invasion of Stanford, of course, on November the 18th, which yours truly and a whole bunch of others from Tightwad will, of course, invade and take over the eucalyptus grove over at the farm. And, of course, their final road game of the year will take place on November 25th when they face off against UCLA for the final time as Pac-12 opponents, because just like USC, UCLA is being a bunch of punk asses and are dipping out to the Big Ten starting next year. And boy, is it going to be funny to watch those two schools get completely crapped on in the Big Ten starting next year. All of 12 of Cal's regular season contests are on Saturdays and will be televised with kickoff times and specific television networks for each contest to be announced at later dates. The Pac-12 football championship game will, of course, be played in that ugly-ass dome stadium that looks like a frickin' Ramba down there in the deserts of Lost Wages on Friday, December the 1st. Cal returns 5 players honored on the 2022 All-Pac-12 team, including first-team inside linebacker Jackson Sermon and a pair of freshman All-Americans in quarterback Jeremiah Irby and running back Jaden Ott. Wide receiver Jeremiah Hunt and safety Craig Woodson are also returning all Pac-12 players, while key 6-year seniors coming back for a final season include offensive lineman Matthew Sindrick, defensive lineman Darius Long Jr., and wide receiver Monroe Young. In addition, Cal has announced the first 21 members of its 2023 recruiting class, including 12 transfers who are already on campus as mid-year enrollees. And also, Cal has hired 3 new full-time coaches in Jake Spivetal, hashtag Hogs for Spave. Shout out again for the second time today for that hashtag here on the podcast here on twitch.tv/AsFAnRadio. Spave will, of course, be the new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach for Cal football. You also have Mike Belated, who will be the new offensive line/run game coordinator, and Tim Plow will be in charge of coaching the tight ends in 2023. For those of you interested in buying season tickets for 2023 Cal football, those will go on sale on January the 24th, but of course spots at California Memorial Stadium can be secured today with a $100 per seat deposit that will apply towards the final season ticket invoice. Of course, if you want to be like myself and many others out there, you can choose also to not be a dummy and save your money and watch all those games for free up on the slopes of the world-famous Tightwad Hill. Fans can also visit the Cal Athletic Fund online to support the Cal football program via the Championship Caliber Initiative. So real quickly here, just to go back over the entire schedule again for Cal football in 2023. They will begin the season on the road on September the 2nd at North Texas. Come back on September the 9th for their first home game of the year against Auburn. They will be in Berkeley the following week on September the 16th to host Idaho at California Memorial Stadium. They will then go out on the road for their first Pac-12 matchup of the year on September the 23rd at Washington against the Huskies. And then they'll be back home for 2 consecutive weeks for a home game against Arizona State on September the 30th and another home game against Oregon State on October the 7th. They will then head off to Utah for a road match on October the 14th. They'll be followed by a bye week the week of October 21st before hosting USC for the last time in Berkeley as a Pac-12 opponent a couple days before Halloween on October the 28th. And maybe hopefully this time we can get the damn Cal Band to do a Halloween show for the first time in years. Hopefully if anyone from the Cal Band's out there listening, we want a Halloween show in 2023, damn it. So get that done finally if you happen to be tuned in. After that matchup against USC, Cal will head out on the road again to take on Oregon in Oregon on November the 4th. They will play their final home game of 2023 on November 11th at Memorial Stadium against Washington State before they conclude the 2023 season with back-to-back road games at Stanford on November the 18th and their final game of the year, which also is their final Pac-12 matchup against the UCLA Bruins, or as we on the Hill like to call them, the UCLA Dickless Bears, at the Rose Bowl on November the 25th. Now, obviously, for those of you out there wondering, yes, we have already created event pages for all these home games over on the Tightwad Hill Facebook page. So if you haven't had a chance to do so and you are planning on making the trip to either Memorial Stadium, or if you want to not be a dummy and save your money and watch those games for free up on the world-famous Tightwad Hill, you can go ahead and start RSVPing on the events page on Facebook.com/Tightwad Hill Official for those 6 home games they'll be going down in Strawberry Canyon later on this year. We also have 2 planned road trips for members of Tightwad Hill this season. One of those, of course, being when we go and invade the farm for the big game against Stanford on November the 18th. And, of course, a bunch of us, I still haven't made up my mind officially if I will be going or not. It will obviously depend on what's going on at that point in time. But a bunch of us up on the Hill did discuss going down to the Rose Bowl for that final Pac-12 matchup against the Dickless Bears on November the 25th. So, again, 6 games at home this year, and, of course, 2 road trips planned for the matchups at Stanford and at UCLA for Tightwad Hill at the end of the year. So definitely go ahead, and if you want to, don't delay, RSVP for those games today, and definitely make your presence up there, regardless if it's inside of California Memorial Stadium, or if you're like yours truly here and want to make the trek up to Tightwad Hill. Definitely have a lot to look forward to when it comes to things, maybe not so much on the win side of things, though it'd be definitely dope to see if the Cal football program can turn things around and get back to something somewhat near what they were during the Tedford years, but it's obviously, hold your breath and wait and see on that if they're going to actually do good or be the traditional lovable losers that we've been used to them being more often than not outside of the years that Tedford coached as of late. But definitely one of the reasons why you should want to make your way up there to either California Memorial Stadium or preferably Tightwad Hill this upcoming season. 2023, of course, marks the 100th anniversary of both Tightwad Hill and California Memorial Stadium. Memorial Stadium, of course, opened on November the 24th of 1923 with the California Golden Bears hosting a home game against the Stanford Cardinal. And it was a game that sold out really quickly. And basically, when it was all said and done, roughly about 5,000 plus people that did not have tickets for that first game on November the 24th of 1923 made their way up to the hill slope that overtops Memorial Stadium. And, of course, that was how the tradition of Tightwad Hill was started. And, of course, we still run that tradition amok all these years later up there. So definitely, if you haven't had a chance to go up there, make this be the year you finally come and check out Cal football and partake in what will be a year-long celebration of 100 years of Cal football up at Memorial Stadium and Tightwad Hill as well. That wraps up things for Cal football talk here, and that, of course, also will wrap up this show's edition of the Bear Raid segment. And, of course, just like its full-on podcast counterpart, the segment edition of the Bear Raid is, of course, brought to you by the world-famous Tightwad Hill, where, again, be sure to make your way up there for the home opener on September the 9th. That's, of course, when the University of California Golden Bears will face off against the University of Auburn Tigers. And, of course, it's the first home game in what will be a year-long celebration of 100 years of Cal football in Strawberry Canyon, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. Hey, again, no guarantee that the Bears will dominate, but hey, at least if you come to the Tightwad Hill for that or any of the other games, or if, of course, you join us for our road trip games this year, you will definitely end up at least having a blast and having fun with yours truly and our fellow Tightwads. And, of course, for you A's fans out there that also happen to be fans of either Cal football or the Cal athletic program overall, or there's, multitudes of Cal athletic programs that you you follow, and you want to, of course, hear the fans' take on them as well, be sure, of course, to check out the sister podcast of A's Fan Radio. That's, of course, the full-on podcast version of the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. And, of course, for more information on the Bear Raid, be sure to check things out over at Facebook.com/TightwadHillOfficial. Follow things over on Twitter at TightwadHill23. Check out the page that right now is currently serving as the temporary official website for the Bear Raid until we're able to get a damn Tightwad Hill website up and going again. For the time being, you can find that info over at AsFANRadio.com/the Bear Raid presented by Tightwad Hill. Just like with this podcast you're watching here right now, all live versions of the Bear Raid, unless otherwise noted or put out there, do take place right here as well on twitch.tv/AsFANRadio. And hey, if there happens to be an addition to the Bear Raid that you missed out on and you want to check out what went down since the last time you saw the Bear Raid, just like with past editions of A's Fan Radio, you can catch all past editions of the Bear Raid over on AFR's YouTube channel at youtube.com/A's Fan Radio. I even have it set up over there on the YouTube channel where there's a playlist that has every single episode of the Bear Raid in it. Obviously, I still got to put together the YouTube version of today's Bear Raid, but for those of you who want to check that out once we get done here with this, you can check out the Twitch version of that going down over on our Twitch channel until, of course, we get the YouTube version up and running later on in the morning. Once again, a reminder that there is a fan question of the night sitting out there for all you lovelies to chime into. So if you haven't had a chance to do that yet, go ahead and make your way over to either facebook.com/AsFanRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter right here, right bloody now, and get your response in for that fan question of the night. So that way I can read off those responses from y'all during the final segment of tonight's show. Just look for the post or tweet that says fan question of the night. Follow the directions on there to how to submit your responses. Submit your responses, and of course, I will read those during the final segment of tonight's show. The fan question of the night, once again, for show number 329, is we want to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing Mr. Fuji to a one-year contract for the 2023 season. Again, to get those responses in, head over to either facebook.com/AsFanRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter right now. We come back, it'll be time to discuss a little football talk as we check in on what the Oakland Roots have on tap for their 2023 preseason and regular season matches. And, of course, also a quick reminder out there coming your way in regards to stuff that the Oakland Soul have planned going forward before their season gets underway. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back at you here in a bit on show number 329, the belated New Year's Extravaganza edition of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, A's Fan Radio. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you are tuning in from, either in Oakland, the greater Bay Area, the rest of the greater state of Cali, the United States, somewhere else on the globe. Maybe you're tuning in for Coruscant, for all I bloody know at this point. That's kind of a self-reminder to me that when I got to work on the YouTube versions of this and the Bear Raid later tonight to watch the most recent edition of the Bad Batch to kill some time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics. A's Talk from the fans' point of view since 2003. It is, of course, show number 329, the belated New Year's Extravaganza of A's Fan Radio. And it is, of course, the legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown who's been coming at you solo for the second half of tonight's broadcast. I, of course, was joined earlier in the show during the first half of the broadcast by the other half of what's become known here on AFR as the Dynamic Duo, that, of course, being my counterpart, the main man, the boss man. Let's go ahead and get on into some football football talk. That'd be soccer, by the way, for those of you knuckleheads that somehow don't know what football is. And check in on the latest on what's going on with our local professional soccer club, Oakland Roots SC. And since last time we came at you, they have put out both their 2023 preseason schedule as well as their 2023 regular season schedule. Let's go ahead and take a look first at the preseason matches that will be going down for Oakland Roots SC in 2023. Oakland Roots SC are set to get preseason games underway on the first weekend of February. The Oakland Roots will take on teams from a variety of leagues and levels to prepare for March 11th and the 2023 regular season kickoff. The preseason schedule includes games against professional sides from USL League One, USL Championship, and ML Next Pro. The preseason schedule is one that allows our staff to get quality games in at multiple different levels, said Roots Technical Director Jordan Farrell. The team we have lined up to play in preseason are ones that are set us up to ensure we're ready for March 11th. Oakland Roots will get preseason games started on February the 4th as they take on local NPSL side FC Dallas. The full preseason will see the Roots face off against one college side, two NPSL sides, two ML Next Pro sides, one USL League One team, and two USL Championship teams, including rival Sacramento Republic FC and Monterey Bay FC. The only preseason game that will be open to fans will, of course, be the matchup on February the 25th in Seaside, California, against Monterey Bay FC. Tickets are already available for that game by visiting Oakland Roots SC.com, and they have a promo code out there to click a link to buy that for that. And if you do want to get tickets for that one lone match that's open to the public, be sure to use promo code ORSC for that. So preseason schedule is as follows. It will begin on February the 4th versus FC Davis. February the 11th will see them take on the San Jose Earthquakes 2, which of course are the developmental team for the main line or the main league MLS San Jose Earthquakes. February the 15th will see them face off against Central Valley Fuego FC. On February the 19th, they will head down to SoCal to face off against the Los Angeles FC2. On February the 25th, they will face off against Napa Valley 1839 FC. February the 25th, they will have, I guess, two games going down on February the 25th, as, of course, the game against Monterey Bay FC at Cardinal Stadium in Seaside, California will be open to the public. That match, of course, will take place at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in Seaside, California. March the 1st will see them go back to the remainder of their preseason matches being closed, as they will close out things in the preseason with a match against Sacramento Republic FC on March the 1st, and their final preseason match going down on March the 4th against St. Mary's College. Now, just to give you all my 2 cents on this preseason schedule, kind of find it, unfortunately, a little bit whack that only one game is open to the public. I seem to remember a lot more than one game being open to fans when the preseason schedule happened last year. And, maybe it wasn't, and just, Oakland Roots supporters got the ability to go and sneak out to a field that was in the middle of nowhere to catch that. But, kind of whack that only one preseason match is open to the public. But, hey, it's a match that is probably going to, potentially be a rivalry that could be set up here for many years to come between the Roots and Monterey Bay FC. So definitely go and check that out if you haven't had a chance to. My only quorum is, of course, with that second match. And this, of course, is me once again calling out the San Jose Earthquakes for basically being cowards. Y'all would rather have your developmentals team get smacked around by the Oakland Roots than have the cojones to actually face the Oakland Roots yourself. It's like, come on, are you guys really that scared of the fact that these guys are becoming more popular in Bay Area soccer than y'all are? The fact that they are outselling y'all in merchandise? And, the fact that they have basically made it to the playoffs every year that they've been in existence, either in the NISA or the USL, and y'all haven't sniffed the jock of the playoffs in, it seems like, forever down there. So, yeah, San Jose Earthquakes, you officially have no balls. Stop being cowards and take on the Roots in a damn preseason friendly in the future because, hey, if things worked out were the way they were here like they are in Europe, the reality is y'all would have been demoted into the USL or the NISA at this point because of how bad you are. So, yeah, Earthquake, stop being cowards and actually take on the Roots next year in a damn preseason friendly. Obviously, along with the preseason matches for your Oakland Roots, the 2023 regular season game dates have been released for Oakland Roots SC as well. The Roots announced the full 2023 season schedule, kicking off on March 11th away at the defending champion San Antonio FC as the team looks to build on a second consecutive appearance in the Western Conference semifinals in 2022. Oakland Roots' home schedule gets underway with the home opener versus Memphis 901 FC on March 25th. The season is then filled with intriguing matchups throughout the spring, summer, and into the fall. Schedule release day is always special in every league around the world, said Roots head coach Noah Delgado. Circling that first game on the calendar or that first home game or those big derby games are always special for fans. It just means we are that much closer to the season getting underway. Oakland Roots will host NorCal rival Sacramento Republic FC on Saturday, September the 2nd. The other fellow NorCal side, Monterey Bay FC, also comes to Laney in September on the 23rd. Oakland Roots' former NISA rivals Detroit City FC will make their first ever appearance at Laney College on July 29th, giving Oakland their first crack against the cross-conference side at home. Oakland Roots will also get their first chance at home against former coach Juan Guerrera on his return to Laney on June 24th, when Phoenix Rising FC comes into town for that matchup, and I expect Juan Guerrero to get a whole bunch of shit from Oakland Roots fans during that game on the 24th. And you'll be hearing from me for sure, Mr. Guerrero, if I happen to be in the stands that day, and I'm pretty sure everybody else I know from the 68s and all the other supporter groups out there are going to bust your cojones during that June 24th matchup. The Roots close out their home season schedule on October the 14th, as they will host the El Paso Locomotive FC in that final home contest on October the 14th. Oakland fans will have the opportunity for some local away trips again in 2023 against Sacramento Republic FC and Monterey Bay FC on May 20th and July 15th, respectively. Limited single game tickets will become available soon. However, you can guarantee access to every potential sold-out match now by securing a 2023 membership, town pack, or fam pack. Group experiences are also available. Contact tickets at rootssc.com or call 510-448-1144 for more information about how Roots can help you plan your next group event. So full schedule's out there, preseason schedule out there as well. Definitely got a whole lot of intriguing matchups to look forward to for your Oakland Roots in 2023, as long with those derby matchups against Sacramento Republic and Monterey Bay. Obviously, the one date, if I'm an Oakland Roots fan, I would have circled on my calendar, again, is that June 24th matchup against Phoenix Rising FC, so that way we can all give Juan Guerrera living, breathing hell in his return to Laney because of obviously everything that played out last year. While even though he seemed like he was going to be committed to the Roots long term, in reality, behind everybody's back, he was trying to make his way back to Phoenix Rising, and we, of course, all know how that ended up playing out. And I don't miss Juan at all. You know, with him being here, the Roots turned into the damn tying team for most of 2022. It seemed like once Guerrero was out the door, that's when the Roots finally got their winning mojo back. So would be nice to definitely return the favor and kick Guerrero and Phoenix Rising's FC's ass in that contest on the 24th. So definitely go and check that out. Be sure, of course, also to go and check out all the other home games in 2023 for your Oakland Roots. And hey, if you happen to have a chance to do so, go and check out some road games, man, if you have a chance to. Maybe this is the year where I finally go and check out a road match up in Sacramento, or even I'll try to make it out to one of them road matches against Monterey Bay down there in Seaside during the season. And, of course, as mentioned, be sure to get a hold of your memberships, your fan packs, the town pack, all that stuff. For those of you that want to get memberships to the Oakland Roots, be sure to visit oaklandrootssc.com/memberships to get your hands on a 2023 membership for the Oakland Roots. So again, preseason schedule's out there, regular season schedule out there as well for Oakland Roots FC. So definitely make your plans to go and check out some Oaktown football in 2023. As far as news goes for the other Oakland soccer team, that, of course, being Oakland Soul SC. We're still sitting around waiting to see exactly when the schedule will be coming out for them. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind everybody out there, specifically our female listeners out there, if you can bend it like Beckham, you got some mad soccer skills, and you want to show your opportunity and your chance to compete, then you may want to free up your schedules on either February the 12th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or on March the 19th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and go make your presence felt at the Oakland Soul tryouts and try to boot your way onto that Oakland Soul roster and be a part of what the Soul will be doing in 2023. Again, those open tryouts for Oakland Soul, the first one going down on February the 12th at 9 a.m. To 5 p.m. on February the 12th, and then they will have a second tryout date on March 19th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. as well. And for anyone out there that wants to get additional information for those tryout dates for the Oakland Soul, and also just to get general information overall on Oakland Soul SC, be sure to make your way over to OaklandSoulSC.com to get all your information pertaining to that. And that, of course, wraps up this week's edition of Football Talk here on A's Fan Radio, which means, hey, it's time now for the final reminder. The final official reminder for the fan question of the night here on show number 329 of A's Fan Radio, because for those of you that already know, I will mention an unofficial reminder during the upcoming Sharks segment here in the final part of tonight's show. But hey, final official reminder to go and get in your responses to the fan question of the night if you haven't had a chance to do that yet. And if you haven't yet, make your way over to either Facebook.com/AsFAnRadio or at A's_fan_radio over on Twitter. Look for the poster tweets that say fan question of the night. Follow the directions, submit your responses, and of course, I will read off all of those responses once I get done doing the San Jose Sharks segment. The fan question of the night, once again, for show number 329 is, we want to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing Fuji to a one-year contract. Again, get those bad boys in over on either Facebook.com/AsFanRadio or at A's_fan_radio, because when I come back and once I get done with that Shark segment, that's the next spot I'll be heading to, will be for that. So we'll be right back at you here in a bit with the final segment on tonight's edition of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics. Be back at you here in a bit for the final segment of show number 329, the belated New Year's Extravaganza edition of A's Fan Radio. Highway to the danger zone, highway to the final segment zone here on show number 329, the belated New Year's Extravaganza edition of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics. A's talk from the fans' point of view since 2003. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to do the final segment here on tonight's edition of A's Fan Radio. It is, of course, the legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown getting ready to bring y'all home for this final segment of tonight's show. I, of course, was joined during the first half of tonight's broadcast by the other half of what's become known here on AFR as the dynamic duo, that, of course, being the main man, the boss man. Let's go ahead and get things underway here in this final segment of tonight's broadcast by checking in on the latest with the local NHL team down in the South Bay and what, of course, they have on tap between now and the next edition of AFR on February the 9th. And, of course, that means, hey, last unofficial reminder, get in your responses to the fan question of the night if you haven't had a chance to do so yet. Facebook.com/AsFanRadio or at A's_fan_radio on Twitter. You already know. Look for the post, follow the directions, submit your responses. I, of course, will read those after we find out what the San Jose Sharks have been up to since the last time we came at you and what the Sharks have on tap between now and the next time we come at you. Yeah, it's still kind of, unfortunately, looking like it will be yet another disappointing season for Team Teal down there in San Jose. Is it a year where they're trying to tank? Is it a season where, as our good friend Brody Brazil puts it, we shouldn't even really be looking into the win-loss record that much? Or are these bastards somehow, some way going to pull their heads out of their asses and maybe compete for one of the lower playoff spots before it's all said and done in the 2022/23 NHL season? Don't know what to tell you. If I were to give you my honest prediction right now, the Sharks will probably finish well out of the playoff chase. But, hey, prove me wrong, Team Teal. You all know that that's one of my favorite sayings is prove me wrong. So if y'all can prove me wrong on that, I'd be grateful to be proven wrong on that. But we'll have to obviously wait and see what happens with that. Anyway, here's what the Sharks have been up to since last time we came at you, and it's a whole bunch of games we got to quickly recap and look over here. Normally, obviously, I try to post recap images with the scores and all that from the Sharks Twitter page on here, but given everything that happened in the last week with my mother-in-law passing away and a whole bunch of other things going on, ended up not doing that. So for this week's edition of the Sharks segment, you're only going to have the matchup screens on there. There won't be scores or any of that. So it'll be matchup images for all of them. And, of course, we begin taking a look at what the Sharks have been up to since the last time we came at you by going all the way back to the end of 2022 when they, of course, played the final game of the year, or the final game of last year, I should say, on Saturday, December the 31st. It, of course, was a road contest in Dallas against the team that can technically trace its lineage back to the Oakland/California Golden Seals, that, of course, being the Dallas Stars. Unfortunately, kind of a typical result as it's been for Team Teal more often than not when they face any opponent this year. The Dallas Stars defeating the San Jose Sharks to close out 2022 with a loss on the 31st of December as they beat the San Jose Sharks by a final of 5-2. The Sharks would basically play back-to-back matches to not only end the year, but to end the old year, but start off the new year as well, as the Sharks would have a road contest on New Year's Day in 2023. They would head into Chicago to face off against the Chicago Blackhawks, and it ended up being the same score that we saw in the previous night's contest. The only difference being it was the Sharks on the winning end this time around, as, of course, on New Year's Day, the Sharks took down the Blackhawks by a final of 5-2. They then would have about 4 days off in between that and the next match they would play, which would also be a matchup on the road, as the Sharks went down to Anaheim to face off against the Anaheim Ducks. It was a back-and-forth contest that would end up going into overtime. Unfortunately, when it was all said and done, the Sharks would not be on the winning end of things in that overtime matchup, as the Ducks would end up beating the Sharks in overtime in that Friday, January the 6th contest by a final of 5-4 in OT. They would then, yet again, for the second week in a row, play back-to-back games, coming back to the San Jose Arena for a home contest on Saturday, January the 7th, in which the Sharks would host the Boston Bruins at the SAP Center, San Jose Arena, the Shark Tank, whatever the bloody hell y'all out there want to call it. The Sharks would take the loss against the Bruins in that one, as they would fall to Boston by the final of 4-2. A couple off days after that, and the Sharks would go back out on the road again, and, of course, would then play back-to-back games yet again. The first of these two back-to-back road games would take place in that small little 5,000-seat arena that is supposed to be for ASU, and that's because of the fact that these bastards got kicked out of their arena in Glendale and are trying to apparently get a new arena built down there in, was it Tucson, Tempe? I can't remember anymore. I've lost track of how many different places the damn Arizona Coyotes have been trying to build a stadium down there. It's almost to the point where, in reality, maybe they should just relocate the Coyotes. Cough, cough, move the Coyotes to Oakland, rebrand them as the Seals. Anyway, the San Jose Sharks facing off against the Arizona Coyotes in back-to-back road trip games. That contest going down, of course, on Tuesday, January the 10th. And the Sharks were victorious in that contest, ending up with the same score that they got in the matchup against Boston, but obviously, of course, winning that contest over the Coyotes versus, of course, the loss they took against Boston, as they would defeat the Arizona Coyotes on January the 10th by the final of 4-2. They would have another game the very next night, Wednesday, January the 11th, as they would head on down to SoCal to battle it out with our good friend Christian's favorite NHL hockey team, the Los Angeles Kings. And real quickly, the Sharks would find themselves back in the loss column as the Kings would defeat the Sharks on Wednesday, January the 11th by the final of 4-3. The Sharks would then be off for a travel day on the 12th before coming back home for a matchup against the Edmonton Oilers on Friday the 13th, and yeah, very ugly one for the Sharks in that one as they got their asses handed to them on Friday the 13th by the Edmonton Oilers as they dropped that contest in blowout fashion, losing to Edmonton by the final of 7-1. Next home game after that would come on Monday, January the 16th, when the Sharks would host the New Jersey Devils at the San Jose Arena. A contest, by the way, that would end up having to be decided in the shootout, and unfortunately the Sharks lost that as well as they fell in the shootout to the Devils by a final of 4-3. A couple days after that, they would play at home against the Dallas Stars and actually find their way back into the win column as the Sharks, of course, came back from behind last night with 5 unanswered goals. They were down 3-0 at one point to Dallas, ultimately end up coming back from behind to win that contest last night at the San Jose Arena against the Dallas Stars by a final of 5-3. That, of course, is the most recent games that have happened for Team Teal. Let's take a look at what's on tap for the Sharks between now and the next time we come at you here on AsFANRAdio. They, of course, are off today and are off again tomorrow before they head out on the road for back-to-back matches this upcoming weekend. The first of those back-to-back games this weekend going down on Saturday, September the 21st in Columbus as the Sharks will make their way out there to take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. That will be a 4 p.m. puck drop over in Columbus. You can, of course, catch that game over on NBC Sports California. The day after that, the Sharks will stay out on the road as they will make their way to Boston for a 4 p.m. puck drop against the Boston Bruins. They will then have an off day on January the 23rd before they make their way into Detroit to take on the Detroit Red Wings in a 4 p.m. puck drop in the city of Detroit. They will then be off for 2 days after that before they have back-to-back road matches on January the 27th and January the 28th. That contest on January the 28th will, of course, go down in Carolina, 4 p.m. puck drop out there against the Hurricanes. And then, of course, the next day, the 28th of January, we'll see a 4 p.m. puck drop in Pittsburgh against the Penguins going down. Then after that, of course, the NHL will be taking some time off for the NHL All-Star festivities. They'll be going down before the season resumes on February the 9th, with the Sharks still out on the road at that point in time in a matchup that will start at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, our time, as, of course, the Sharks will be in Tampa Bay taking on the Lightning. And then roughly 4 hours before the next edition of AsFANRAdio comes at you on February the 9th, which of course is a Thursday, 4 hours before our next show at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when the puck will drop in Florida when the San Jose Sharks, of course, face off against the Florida Panthers. Let me make sure. There we go. Didn't have it up there for you, but yeah, that's, of course, the matchup will take place on the next day that we come at you here on the show. Let's go ahead now and take a look at what the standings currently look like in the Pacific Division of the Western Conference of the NHL. And over here on my end, just sitting here waiting for the divisional standings to load via the NHL.com website. And as soon as I got those, I will run those numbers off to you. And it's thinking. It's still thinking. There we go. Here's what the current standings look like right now in the Pacific Division of the Western Conference of the NHL. Sitting on top right now, it's not Vegas, it's Seattle. Yes, you heard me right. The Seattle Kraken are in the top spot in the Pacific Division right now with a record of 27, 14, and 4 for a total of 58 points, though technically tied with them with 58 points as well is the Vegas Golden Knights, who are 28, 16, and 2 at the moment. In the third place spot with a record of 26, 15, and 6 for 56 points right now are the Los Angeles Kings. The Edmonton Oilers holding down the fourth spot with a record of 26, 18, and 3 for 55 points. The Calgary Flames currently in the fifth spot with a record of 21, 16, and 9 for 51 points. The Vancouver Canucks are in the sixth spot with a record of 18, 23, and 3 for a total of 39 points. Your San Jose Sharks, my San Jose Sharks, our San Jose Sharks are still currently sitting in that second to last spot in the Pacific Division. They currently right now have a record of 14, 23, and 9 for a total of 37 points. And, of course, the 8th and last place spot in the Pacific Division of the Western Conference of the NHL currently belongs to the Anaheim Ducks, who have a record of 13, 28, and 5 for a total of 31 points. So, hey, at least there's a team out there that's kind of worse than the Sharks are right now, but yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of the same old when it comes to Team Teal. Now, again, some out there, including Brody Brazil, are trying to tell people not to look too much into the numbers and not to take it as the Sharks tanking, and to just actually, enjoy some of these younger cats that are, playing with the Sharks right now and whatnot, and to just enjoy how things are going in regards to that. But, at the same time, I can understand frustration out there coming from many longtime Sharks fans, given the direction things have happened, given that this was a team that even, when they weren't firing on all cylinders, would at least figure out a way to make it into the Stanley Cup playoffs, even if it was the last, one of the last playoff spots in the division or the conference. And just, the way things are shaping up and looking right now, it's probably going to be another year of the Sharks not going to the postseason, and you're actually finally starting to see that performance as of late starting to take its toll on fan attendance down there at the San Jose Arena. It led to a good friend of the show and the quote-unquote real mayor of Oakland, Mike Davey, putting out something that you've heard a couple of us here at the show jokingly say that, hey, maybe the Sharks should move to Oakland. Yeah, I'll be honest, yeah, that's still something that in my dreams I'd love to see that happen. Will it happen? Who knows? But, I am amongst those that do feel that, hey, two-team market for baseball was a two-team market for football for many years. I still feel that it could be a two-team market for MLS, the NHL, and the NBA, but that's up to, obviously, people in greater positions of power than I am to ultimately figure that one out. But, yeah, it definitely and obviously would be nice to see Team Teal turn things around and go on a crazy, ridiculous run like they've sometimes been known to do in the past. Just the reality is I don't know if they got the bodies in place to do that. So we'll have to obviously wait and see if they surprise us or if they just continue down this path that they're on right now with quote-unquote rebuild mode down there at the Shark Tank. And that, of course, wraps up this show's edition of the San Jose Sharks segment, which means, hey, if you haven't had a chance to submit it up to this point, guess what? Your time is up. You had 2+ hours to get. You had way more than 2+ hours to get in a response to the fan question of the night, given the fact that the original post went up at around 5:30 p.m. But hey, you didn't get a chance to get one in for this broadcast. Don't sweat it. Don't bang your head against a wall and get pissed off because you did, because more often than not, we always somehow, some way try to have a fan question of the night out there for all of our great followers to chime in on and share their responses with. Because, hey, until we obviously have the season start up or we run into any of y'all, if myself and Bauce end up going out to the yard for any reason or another this year, that fan question is really one of the few ways for y'all to interact and get your thoughts shared directly on the air during these broadcasts. At least that's one of the ways to do it until yours truly or someone out there that's more advanced than me can figure out a way to maybe dynamite rig setup that I got here, and maybe one day we can finally have call-in capability for this show like our sister podcast AsFAnRAdio did for many, many years. But until we're able to have call-in capability, the best thing we're going to get next to that is obviously having the fan question of the night posted out there. And as always, you can find those fan questions of the night posts on either our Facebook page, facebook.com/AsFAnRadio, or for those of you, of course, that follow us on Twitter, you can also put in your responses to the fan question of the night over on our Twitter page at A's_fan_radio. On that note, let's go ahead and take a look and see if any of you knuckleheads chimed in for this show's edition of the fan question of the night. Of course, the fan question of the night for this edition of A's Fan Radio was, we wanted to hear your thoughts on the Oakland Athletics signing Shintaro Fujinami, a.k.a. Fuji, to a 1-year contract. Looking at things over on Twitter, doesn't look like we have any responses to the fan question over there. I'm checking things over on our Facebook page right now, and hey, no responses. Hey, it is what it is. No biggie. Not the first time we haven't had y'all chime into one, so maybe I'll recycle that for the next edition of the show, the next time we come at you on the show, or maybe I'll just post the fan question up a little bit earlier and hope that y'all chime in for that. Hey, it's understandable. Been a while since last time we came at you, and y'all may have other stuff going on, so you may have ended up missing that. But obviously, hey, no responses to this fan question of the night. This go-around is what it is, but definitely for those of you out there listening and following, be sure to keep your eyes open the next time we come at you, and be sure to get out your responses to whatever the fan question of the night is for the next edition of A's Fan Radio. As always, for the latest information pertaining to your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, be sure to check us out at AsFAnRadio.com. Like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/AsFanRadio. Follow us over on Twitter at A's_fan_radio. If you happen to miss any of our past shows or want to check out some of the other little juicy tidbits video-wise that we've thrown together, be sure to go and check those out over on our YouTube channel, and be sure to also subscribe to the YouTube channel while you're over there. You can, of course, find that over at youtube.com/AsFanRadio. And as always, unless otherwise noted, all of our live show broadcasts take place right here on twitch.tv/AsFanRadio. And that's, of course, where you can find us for the next edition of AFR 3 weeks from now, when show number 330 goes down on Thursday, February the 9th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/AsFanRadio. That means, of course, it's time now, finally, for my final thoughts of the night. As always, thank you to all of our longtime listeners and followers out there, and even our newbies that are just now starting to tune in to AFR. As always, we thank you for your longtime support, or even your short-time support if you're new to following the show. We do this, of course, for y'all, our fellow A's fans. Obviously, we're not professionals out there. I mean, yours truly obviously would love to still get his foot in the door over on the mainstream side of radio broadcasting. But hey, until then, this and the Bear Raid are a great place to be able to do that and give you all professional, in-depth sports take and analysis from the fans' point of view. Again, thank you as always for all of you out there that have been following the show, regardless if you're a newcomer that's only been following us starting tonight or for a past couple shows. If you've been following us since the show came back from its 4-year hiatus in 2011, or hey, if you happen to be one of the few out there that have followed this show for its damn near entire 20-year existence, we always thank you all out there for following us out there and chiming in and tuning in whenever you can. Also as well, as mentioned again, apologies again for this show not happening as originally planned last week, but hey, can y'all blame me? And pretty sure y'all out there can understand that given the circumstances of my mother-in-law passing away last week, the corporal had bigger priorities that he had to deal with and focus his attention on, with that, of course, being making sure that my wife is doing all right, keeping an eye on her as she continues to deal with the fallout of this. Again, as I mentioned when Bauce brought it up earlier, this was something that my wife unfortunately had been preparing for the last 10 years, but that also does not change the fact that it's, even though she had been preparing for it, doesn't change the fact that it still hurts. That's her mom, and it's completely understandable that, when you lose someone like that, especially a parent, and I feel, even if it's a case if you don't have that great of a relationship with a parent and they pass away, it's still going to end up getting you there in the feels one way or another. So condolences out there, and then thank you again as well for all of you out there that have sent your condolences to myself and Christy as we go through this time, and also condolences out there to anyone that knows what it's like to be going through this at this point in time. As Bauce mentioned, he can fully relate to what I'm going through right now, given what happened last year when his father-in-law unexpectedly passed away after he came down with COVID. My mother-in-law, she caught COVID basically roughly around the same time Bauce's father-in-law did. She was able to, get over it, but just she never was really the same after that, and just, kind of, I guess, realized that, it was getting to that point where, hey, it's my time to make my way to the city of Oakland up in the sky. And, the reality is I kind of had a an up and down relationship with my mother-in-law. There were times where I kind of feel like she might not have been a very big fan of me, given the fact that apparently I reminded her too much of my father-in-law from what Christy and other family members have said about me. But, regardless of our good times and bad times we had over the years, I'm definitely grateful and appreciative of that, even if she didn't accept me at first, that as time went on, ultimately, that my mother-in-law did accept me for who I was and welcomed me into the family, even if it was kind of against her will because of things with that stroke and whatnot. But regardless of the good times and the bad times, thankful that she allowed me to be able to marry her daughter and be able to provide for her daughter, and just going to be a hole that myself and my wife and other members of the family are going to have to deal with and fill, and ultimately still determine what's going to happen going forward in regards to that. So anyone out there that happens to be in that same boat right now, fully feel you, fully relate to you. My condolences to y'all out there if you're going through it in a similar situation like my wife and I are right now. And even if you're not, just, hey, take that opportunity to always tell those close to you, your loved ones, your family and friends, that you love them and that you're thinking of them or whatnot, whatever it is, because you never know, man. Life is too short, and, you never know when the man up above is going to come knocking for you to take your butt all the way up there to the town up in the sky. So definitely cherishes those moments with those close to you, and again, just make sure to remind them how much you love them or how much they have an impact on you, because, again, hey, you never know, man, when that day might come where you unfortunately are not able to talk to that individual or that loved one again. As always, on behalf of the rest of the cast of your number one source for everything and anything on your Oakland Athletics, this is the Legally 5150 Corporal Oaktown signing off for the evening. Thank you all, as always, for tuning in to AsFANRAdio. Y'all take care and enjoy what is left of your Thursday night. The views and opinions of our cast, our guests, and our listeners are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with the Oakland Athletics or Major League Baseball. Good night, Walter Haas. Good night, King Al. Your son's still a punk ass who once again got what he deserved for moving our beloved football team out to the damn Las Vegas desert, and I hope he continues to get the brunt end of karma for that mistake until the end of time. Good night, Chesty Puller, wherever you may be, looking over the souls of Marines past, present, and those dumb enough to join Uncle Sam's misguided children in the future. Good night, Auntie Di-Di. Love you and still forever miss you. Good night, Grizz Jones. Miss you, as well as you, of course, party it up with my auntie and others up there in the at the Coliseum in the sky. And, of course, hey, regardless of the good or the bad, hey, I love you and miss you too, Sophia. Definitely looking forward to when the family can all get together again at Oaktown in the sky. Hey, wrap it before you tap it. Don't drink and drive. All that same old crazy crap that I used to get told during every single safety brief back when I was in the Marine Corps. Because we want to see y'all right back here 3 weeks from now. Same bat time, same Twitch channel when the next edition of AFR goes down. And hey, that's of course going to be the final off-season edition of AsFANRAdio when that goes down on February the 9th. Because then after that 2-week break after that, it is nonstop AFR every week at the end of February going until the end of the season. Because hey, spring training and the regular season are just around the corner, folks. So yep, one more off-season show to come your way, one more 2-week break after that, and then hey, it's AFR every Thursday starting late February through the end of the regular season. So again, take care. Thank you all for tuning in. We will catch you right back here 3 weeks from now on February the 9th for show number 330 of AFR. Until then, good night, Oakland and beyond. And as always, be sure to stay Oakland, my friends.
Yeah, yeah.